Recruitment and creating recruitment processes is a well-defined skill, and we highly recommend, if you have an internal HR team or an agency you use or somebody that sits alongside your business, another service, that you use those people to help you find the very best people that you possibly can for you and your teams. You know, you're a skilled person in your area. These people are skilled people, individuals in their fields of expertise as well. And their sole responsibility and what they're trying to achieve is all about finding the right person for you so you and your teams can be optimized to deliver on the goals that you've got. And part of this process is getting those interview questions set up and aligned with your culture and your values so that you can get the right responses from the process, but also it helps with your brand and your reputation, as Kirsten talked about last week. So today we're going to be talking to you about how you can identify those competencies and how you can have some really strong, well-constructed interview questions that you can use throughout your process.
And when you actually are going through and you're identifying your competencies and your interview questions, this creates an amazing scoping document that you can then pass on to other people, or you have your professionals work alongside you to make sure that you nail it, because getting the right person in your business is absolutely pivotal to the success of your business. And remember, people can replicate product services, they don't replicate your people overnight. So use your unique factors here. Now, when we have a look at it, quite often we have to separate the difference between getting caught up in experience versus actual competency. And sometimes people, you know, if you're not used to recruiting, you sometimes look at a person's background and go, wow, they've got the experience exactly that I need. But always remember, experience does not necessarily mean competence. And I know you're probably nodding about now because you're probably thinking there's people that you know in your past in leadership or sales roles or different roles that you've been involved in, and they've been doing the role for a long time, but they're not necessarily competent with it. So what we want to do here in this piece, I'm going to take you through the competency side of things, and let's take it from the piece that you already know, that the clear purpose of the role. You know already what the success factors are of the role are. You know the role's responsibilities. So once you know the role's responsibilities and success factors, you can then move on to what are the competencies. Now, I always break those competencies down into knowledge, skills, ability, and attitude that a person requires to be able to do the job. So when we're thinking about it in this particular way, you go, right, okay, well, I know all of what I need to do in the job, but how do I actually get these out in a quick, easy way? Sarah and I recommend that you get a whiteboard. You get A3 piece of paper or flip chart, and you brainstorm. And what you do is you think, right, knowing the roles, responsibilities for this job and the success factors, the outcomes that they need to do, what are the knowledge, the skills and the abilities and attitudes that they're going to require? And when you brainstorm all of these out, and don't do it alone, use that synergistic effect, get other people involved and brainstorm so you have an amazing list of competencies. And then once you've got the amazing list, you need to go through and filter it down, because you need to identify what are your non-negotiables. And so you go through and you circle what competencies, knowledge, skills, abilities, or attitudes are critical to the success of this particular role. Circle those ones in one color. Grab a different colored pen. Circle the next tier of questions, which are actually competencies that are probably nice to have, but not absolutely critical. Now, when you've got that competency list down, take your first tier that you actually said were critical competencies. And now what we want to do is shift that a level, and we want to create then behaviors. So behaviors are what are they going to do on a daily basis to actually then show capability and competence in that particular area. And an easy way of thinking about it is quite often people will say they need to be a team player, they need good communication skills, they need to be able to handle change, they need to be able to negotiate. We call those umbrella competencies, because under that umbrella competencies are multiple levels of other competency levels, but also behaviors. And Sarah's going to take you through very shortly the importance of actually recruiting and interviewing based on behaviors and competence. The last thing though I want to share with you, you've got this amazing list. You know the competencies, you know the behaviors that you're looking for, then put them into a spreadsheet. And then when you've got the spreadsheet along and you're putting the role in, you can then traffic light them. And you can actually say, right, red is critical. You know, yellow is, yep, nice to haves. And then the green is, yep, okay, they're just a given. So I'm going to pass over to Sarah, because drilling and using these and leveraging is really powerful.
Yes, and I was recently working with a business, helping them find somebody for actually quite a technical role. And we'd used that traffic light system that Kirsten's talked about. And we knew when we were assessing this individual that there were some technical requirements that this person just simply didn't have. What we wanted to understand was, were they capable of learning it, and were there any other examples in their life where they had shown that capability, so that if we were going to teach them, we knew they'd be able to adopt those technical requirements and actually implement them. And when we went through this process, because we knew they didn't have it within their work life, we actually talked to them about what they had done outside of the workplace. And this person had done some voluntary work. And actually in that space, we were able to identify exactly what we were looking for, luckily for us, but they were able to quite specifically, through open questions, give us the targeted information we knew we needed to understand and identify that they were very capable of learning the information we needed them to have in order for them to be even more successful in this particular role. That's actually the power of carefully constructed interview questions that are linked to the competencies. You know, when we've spoken to you previously about the values of a business, and making sure that those competencies and the interview questions we're generating a result are linked is imperative. They're a must-have for your business. And they help you objectively assess the capability of the person for a particular area, in a particular area of the role. But it also then helps you to understand how quickly you can make a decision on that person when you're assessing candidate against candidate. What those highly aligned questions actually help you do is understand who's likely to be a complementary fit for your business, not a cultural fit, but a complementary fit, because you might be on a cultural journey. And so this person might be exhibiting some of those competencies and behaviors that you seek to engage and employ into your business. And don't forget, when we're creating interview questions, don't just have that one open question. Make sure we've got a second and third drill down question, because the surface question is just the start of those powerful conversations. It's when we ask more that we get the real meat and the real flavor of actually what's been going on for that individual. And a really nifty way I like to do that is, when I've got my interview questions in a column, next to it I have a column that I set up that describes the type of response that I'm seeking to achieve from the candidate I'm interacting with. That can often, if those second and third questions aren't quite fitting the bill in terms of how the candidate's responded, they can help drive the questioning when you're looking at how that individual's responded. And that gives you some incredibly powerful information and insights into how that person's likely to respond, both behaviourally, but also in terms of their capability for learning, if that's what you're trying to assess for a particular role.
And when you're really clear on the competencies, the knowledge, skills, ability, and attitude a person requires for the job, you've created a really neat network of questions that you're going to ask them within the interview, and you're very clear on the behaviours you're looking for, the outcomes, then you don't get caught up with shiny object syndrome, where you actually get captivated with a story and you get detracted from what you're actually looking for. So I hope this has been really valuable to you, and our challenge to you is to pick a role this week. Pick a role that you've got coming up, one you've currently got, and actually put a bit of a spotlight on it and do a capability matrix on it, and really become very clear and laser focused on what you're looking for on that particular job. Next week is going to be all about taking these interview questions and competencies and behaviours, and actually taking them through into different types of conversations that we can have within the interview process.